Okay guys, we're back on the build of the Pontiac Fiero Indy pace car as the final one of our Mr.mo and Buddy appreciation build, or may as well just be the Pontiac appreciation build now because we're done with the Mr.mo and Buddy part of this build and now we're concentrating on the Fiero. So I'm back to it after a little hiatus. If you saw my last video, it was all about Batman, or the car stuff if you're into the car stuff. But anyway, I just painted the black trim on the inside of the interior. So we're going to do some unmasking. And the color I used was Black Gray by Vallejo, which seems to be almost an exact duplicate of the shade that is in the real car. So I'm going to unwrap this now and let's see if I did a good job with the masking. Because it's going to be multiple layers of colors on this interior as we're going to duplicate the Indy interior to its final detail. So the first layer that I did was the black gray surround of the center console. Then there's going to be another layer of color over this for the bezel on top of the center console. And then there's going to be red. And, well, we're going to go through it all one at a time. So why don't we just unwrap this and see if I did this right or if I screwed it up. Okay, guys, that is the first bit there. And as we're looking, just got a little bit of overspray on the back of the center console there. Something you probably won't even notice once the seats are installed. So I'm not going to worry too much about that. And a little bit in the carpet area, but that's all going to be flocked with well, it's going to be covered with embossing powder when we make the carpet. So other than that, I think that came out pretty decent. So we're going to set that aside, and then we're going to unwrap the dash next. Actually, guys, no, we're not going to unwrap the dash because I still have to put one more layer of color for the bezel on the radial face. So we're going to wait till this cures and hardens before we go ahead and mask that off. But you can see here, the Vallejo Black Gray is a great color for matching the GM interior. Now it is going to get a semi-gloss coat over it, but I think it looks great and it sprays beautifully. The final piece we painted was the instrument cluster itself. Again, it looks great. So now that we got that done, there's going to be another round of masking once I'm sure that this is dried and cured. I just did this now. And we're going to be masking off more of it in order to paint the carpeting in red, or we may just do that, hand paint that, because that's going to be painted in red. Because anytime you flock something, you want to have the color that matches your flocking painted on the car itself, so that it matches and fills in the flocking. And sometimes you may get it a little bit thin in some areas, but when you paint everything in the same color as the flocking, it fills in the entire floor and just makes it look more realistic. And this is flocking on the car, on the door panel. And we're going to have to make a door pocket for it because I'm not happy with that. Actually, did they have door pockets? We're going to have to find out more details on the interior. So we're going to keep going along with this. All right, guys, so now we're just going to fill in the carpet color using Tamiya flat red. Now you don't have to worry about perfection and coverage here, because you're going to be covering all of this with your flocking. Alright guys, we're continuing with the multi-layered paint process for this interior tub. We just finished applying the Vallejo dark aluminum to simulate the trim on the center console, which in the real Fiero is like almost like in a very similar color. It's a metallized finished on the plastic trim piece. Let me put a picture of it right here so you guys can see what it looks like. And this is a color which I found simulates it pretty well. So did that on the dashboard, the instrument cluster. So we're gonna just unmask all of this stuff now and see how good of a job we did with the top of the center console trim. Then we'll have the darker colored black gray from Vallejo, which we used for the darker gray trim. And then the paintwork, which was done on the interior using, what did we use on that? I think it was the Mr. Color. Yep, that was it. Mr. Color Gloss Gray. I think that was it, the Gloss Gray. It was one of our Mr. Color paints. No, I'm sorry, guys. I got the wrong color altogether. The light gray is what I used for Mr. Color for the light gray parts of the interior. So let's go ahead and unwrap this so we can see how we've gotten, if this actually worked out the way I hope, or if I totally screwed it up. Alright guys, now let's take a look at our results here. I've done a little bit of touching up on it to kind of clean up some of the little bit of overspray I had. And I think it came out pretty good. That metallic finish on the bezels just really sets it off and looks very, very similar to the real car. I've also painted in the air vents. I still have a little bit more detail painting to do on the air vents, the radio, and the AC controls, all that stuff. Just got to see exactly what they look like in the 84 model. I like this black gray, as it's not just a dark black, and looks very similar to the dark charcoal gray that came in the cars as part of the darker gray color of the interior. Now let's take a look at the instrument cluster. Now, over the black gray, I sprayed some Vallejo satin finish just to give it a semi-glossy look, similar to the plastics that were originally used in these cars. And that is a really nicely detailed instrument cluster. They did a really nice job with this. See, it gives you guys a really good look. Again, that metallic paint just really sets it off and looks very, very close to what the real car looks like. Now we can take a look at the interior. Now, mind you, the interior still has a lot of work that needs to get done. We're going to be flocking it with our red flocking powder to simulate the red carpeting that came only in the pace car edition of the Fiero. No other Fiero any other year had a red and gray interior. So you see we have the bezel in the black gray, Looks like I got to do a little bit of touching up there. May have peeled a little bit with the tape. The rest of it in the Mr. Hobby light gray. And it's starting to come together. So we're going to have to hit it with a little bit of a satin finish on the door panels. We also have the armrests, and we have the steering wheel to deal with. So we're going to keep going with the interior work on the 1984 Indy pace car Fiero. Hey guys, just a little modeling tip. Working on the dashboard of the Fiero Indy pace car, and I needed some way to hold the dash so that I could paint it when I'm in the spray booth. So I took a little piece of sprue, a little bit of Tamiya cement, and boom, a instant holder for the dashboard, so that now I can paint it without worrying about how I'm going to hold it. And all it is a piece of sprue. Cost you nothing because you've already got them. Makes a perfect paint stand. Alright guys, time to do some seat painting. I'm starting off by just doing some pre-shading. I'm applying some Mission Models black into the recesses of the seat, the center part of the seat back, and the seat bottom, as this is going to allow shadows to show through on all the panel lines and separations within the cushions on the seat. Gives it a little more realistic look. Now what I'm using is Mission Models black for the pre-shading and Mission Models red for the seat cover itself. And if this works out right, it should look pretty cool, and we should have some realistic shadows, which brings some scale to the build. So just hang out while we paint these, and we'll see how it comes out. Okay guys, now we're going to unwrap our seats and see if all that pre-shading and all the effort we put into that worked out for us. I like what I see, but you know, this isn't a war-weary battle mech. These are seats, so I'm hoping I didn't overly shadow them. So let's see what it looks like. Let's take it apart. Okay guys, now initially I thought it came out great. I really like the shading on the red. I thought it really just worked out exactly the way I was hoping. Unfortunately, we got quite a bit of the red that snuck through our masking. And it's kind of tough to mask all these rounded shapes. So I probably should have painted the red first and then done the gray. So that I could more easily mask off these squared flat areas of the seat than the bolsters. So what we're going to do is we're going to give this a day or so to have it completely cure, and then we're going to mask off the red areas and do what I probably should have done in the first place. And then we'll give the gray a respray, and maybe even do some of that pre-shading on the gray, because I'm really happy with the way it looks on the red. I mean, it really adds the nice shadows, which give it more of a three-dimensional look, and I'm happy with that. Do see a couple of areas where the masking prevented the paint from getting where I wanted it to, but overall, I'm really happy with the way that turned out. So we're going to mask it again and respray the gray. See what I did there? Respray the gray, respray the gray, respray the gray. Okay, enough of that nonsense.
Stop it. Get some help.
Alright guys, this is where we're going to stop this video. It's already going on pretty long, and we got a lot more work to do. We're going to come back in the next episode. We're going to respray the seats so that we can clean up the gray areas and touch up the red in a couple of places. we're going to add flocking to the carpeting and really get the interior tub done up nicely and finished. And we're going to add map pockets to it, because this model unfortunately never came with them. So I'm going to walk you right through how I make those. I'm going to walk you through the flocking, show you exactly how I do that. I've done it before on the channel, but if you haven't seen it, then this will be interesting to you. If you have seen it, then you're just going to have to sit through it again. Or you can just speed up to, the other part of the video you want to watch. It's up to you. Just do what you want. It's YouTube. You can watch whatever you want. But hopefully you'll sit through the entire video. So I'm going to end this here. And we'll be back with the next part of this build, where we continue the interior work, because there's a lot of fun stuff coming up. And we're going to have some interesting times dealing with it. So that's it, guys. And I will see you on the next one.